Yo, welcome to the Transparency Podcast. I got Faith Joi here. What's going on?
Why you want me to talk? You supposed to talk.
We're talking about keeping the faith, man. Y'all gotta check this out on YouTube, Spotify, Hart.
Boom.
Yo, welcome to the 28th edition of the Transparency Podcast. I'll go by the name of Big O. I got my brother here, Moody. How you feeling, bro?
Man, I am cooling. And to say that, it's a little warm, so we're trying to stay cool out here. You know what I mean?
Shotting bullets.
That's all good, though, man. It's June, you know what I mean? Whether it's broken, call it breaking, or however you want to explain that, but it's nice out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the weather got us breaking down. But you know what, though? At the end of the day, just drink some water. You know what I mean? Stay hydrated for all the people that's out there. It's better, for me, it's better to not be cold than be hot.
Always.
I can deal with the heat.
Always.
I normally ask you how your week was, but I feel like I need to say like Happy New Year or something. I ain't see you.
Happy New Year. Come on, bro. Yo, bro, it's only been like 3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, we got a lot of catching up to do.
But we always still keep in touch and we know what's going on. But as far as the podcast go, welcome everybody back that hasn't heard us or heard us together. We appreciate y'all tuning in.
Tag team partners.
We are back in full effect. The Aries brothers are here. You feel me?
You feeling better? You feeling better, brother?
Yeah, man. I was down a little bit. I'm feeling a little better. You know what I'm saying? But I'm good. I'm smooth. God is great. You already know.
God is the greatest.
You already know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm thankful to be back in the building with you, man. It's a good day, Sunday. You know what I mean? Feeling great. You know what I mean?
Beautiful. Speaking of Sunday, so this week's podcast is about keeping the faith. But before we get to that, Moody, what do we have going on at the Content Complex?
The Content Complex, as usual, has produced multiple podcasts. We have been turning up. And of course, we got To Be Creative here, Joy, Faith, just to, reiterate. Faith Joi. You know why I said that? Because he keep calling, you know what's funny? Because he keeps saying Joy, Faith. And I'm like, why you keep calling her Joy, Faith? It's actually Faith Joi, but he got me doing that.
Joy.
But anyway, but that's,
Joy.
but now the cool part about that is, you got joy and faith. You can't have faith without the joy. Got to keep the joy in everything you do. You know what I'm saying? So, we, producing more podcasts, man. We just also got, the Realist podcast, the Therapist podcast. We got Sophia's in the building.
Sophia.
The Real Therapist podcast is in the building. She didn't came in.
The minister.
They didn't came in and did their thing. Of course, we still doing Keep It a Stack, of course.
Keep it a thou.
And Global Streets Media, you still recording that. We're doing skits, man. We've been creating some dope skits. Where's Dolly is up. Make sure y'all go check that out. That's on the Content Complex YouTube page. And, we shoot music videos daily, man. We just keep doing creative stuff, man. It don't stop. You already know.
It don't stop. That's what's up, man. Now, for our guests today, we have a beautiful woman here, not just by the eye, but what she represents. A lot of times, we can look at an individual and jump to conclusions without lazy thoughts. But let me ask you, have you ever looked at a book that interests you and pretty much analyzed the cover and wrote a book report off of it without reading it? High probability? Not. You went into depth because it's interesting. So while it's interesting, you read it, and you might even get stuck onto a word trying to pronounce it, but you're going to keep going and even sounding it out. So much more that you'll look up the definition, even if it interests you some more. So I say all that to say, I've seen friends post hypnotic memes on social medias to grab people's attention. Sometimes the canvas needs to be hypnotizing to grab folks. And to be honest, that's what our guest did to me. Because, I'm not a lazy thinker. So when I first looked at a picture of her canvas, like I overanalyze things, and the first thing I saw was like her smile, but I didn't see that smile where as though it's like a weirdness or nothing like that. It was more so of seeing that smile was like a smile of like triumph, new life, self-love, a prosperous future, which leads me to this title of this book today. We're going to keep the faith.
Keeping the faith.
And this is for, and this is good. This book is going to be good for men, this book is going to be good for women. Just listening to this podcast today. A lot of times we get in precarious situations or circumstances. We're looking left, we're looking right. And we end up looking down, literally, on our past and what happened to us before and everything like this. So we get down on ourselves. So we're going to help you out. We're going to help you get through that with our super guest today. She proposes that we create is to be free. Or if we create, be free. Right? Create to be free.
Create to be free.
Rebuilding.
You did
Discovering.
your research. You did your research. Come on.
Cultivating.
We don't play here.
Which is so important for our culture.
Okay.
So let's give a hand for our guest.
Yes.
Miss Faith Joi.
Faith Joi.
Hey,
Not Joy, Faith.
No.
Faith Joi.
Sorry. Twop. Turn it around.
Yes.
For sure.
So how are you doing
What's
today?
up? What's up, you guys? I'm glad to be here. It's a pleasure to be a part. This is my first time back behind the mic within a month. I want to say it's about to be a month. Wow. So a little nervous, but I'm grateful to have the opportunity to share, to uplift, to empower, to inspire, and just continue to shine my light. You said my smile radiates triumph. I was like, okay. Yeah, and then you went and did your research, so you followed me and checked me out.
Yeah, because I think it's very important. Like, people will look at people on social media that are interesting, but they don't really. They just look at the person and be like, okay, that person is that person. No, I do like a deep, and it's not men, it's not women, it's just people in general.
Yeah.
If that person interests you and they're talking about positive things, people need to learn how to implement those type of things to their lives. You know what I mean? Because you'll look at things in life and pretty much let things pass you by without you really respecting life. I truly try my best to respect life and the people that's in life.
And it sounds like you pay more attention to the details versus the image.
Right.
Like, a lot of people look at me and you see just a cute face, a pretty smile, well dressed, well groomed, but they don't know the story that it took to get me to this place.
Right.
So that's good. That's good. I'm glad to be here. I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Faith Joi. I am the owner and founder of To Be Creative, where we cultivate relationships, build foundations, and discover creativity daily. We also have Kreative Convos podcast, which is shot right here in this beautiful studio, Content Complex. Shout out to y'all for all of your diligence and just being patient with me and working with me and teaching me and rolling with me. My kid right here, big dog Moody, rocks with me all the time. But Kreative Convos podcast was literally an idea. I started off on Instagram, doing Instagram live and inviting other creators to my platform and just digging into their brain and diving a little deeper on how they maintain creativity, how they maintain their lifestyles, how they cultivate relationships, and how they just kind of get into the business realm. It just came full circle, and I was in here actually with my mother. Shout out to her. She was at Talk Podcast. She was here and she interviewed in this space, and I was just like, it's time. It's time to like take the shoes off. Right. Or like take the jacket off and start running. So I ended up connecting with Moody, which him and County actually helped me get everything off of the ground and just started running, and it's doing great. Took a little break, but I'm back, baby, period. It's like, yes, Kreative Convos podcast is where we dive into the mind of a creator. So you can be a creator of any walk. It does not matter if you are an artist or a singer or a poet or a mom. You could be a businesswoman, you could be a businessman. I just want to dive into your mind and see what you think and how you break it all down and how do you incorporate those thoughts into your daily life. So that is a little snippet about me.
That's
awesome.
Fire. Awesome. That's fire.
Awesome.
So, I mean, I was just going to jump in because, of course, Faith is, came here, like she just said, and we met, and, it's been a good experience to meet you, because you're an authentic person. And, I appreciate you, of course, coming on the podcast. Thanks you for coming on Transparency.
Absolutely.
When I first met you, of course, I just, break it down, like you just said, like when people see you and stuff like that. So let me just break down when I saw. So when I saw you, of course, you did look very radiant. You were smiling. You seemed very, I would say, positive. You seem very well-groomed, like you said. but you also seem like you had a story, but I did feel like a presence of just God. You know what I mean? I felt that, when you stepped in the room, I felt as though you were confident. I felt really, comfortable speaking to you. You know what I mean? So all of those things seem very, genuine. And like when I first talked to you, I told you about my spiritual journey and things that I was doing and things that I went through. And I felt a connection there when it comes to that. And you can't fake that.
Yeah.
So I really do respect you to being a woman of God and serving at your church and you praying and you have that good feeling of you because you want that's what I feel like when people see me or see someone they should see a touch of God, you know what I mean? And that's just me personally.
Yeah.
I really feel as though like when you feel that when you see certain people, you talk to certain people, you just
Most
feel the
definitely.
positivity.
Most definitely.
You know what I mean? But we all go through things and
Right.
we all go through trials and tribulations, and that's saying that's not like a cover up because it's not. I don't believe that. I just believe that, we try our best to put that faith forward, and I'm gonna say faith, but just put that that clarity of who we are forward so people can understand, like, even though we're going through stuff, we still can have a smile on our face.
Yeah.
We still can have joy, through these things we go through. So that's what I felt when I saw you. But then when we got to work together, I saw different sides of Faith. I said, well,
that's good.
She seemed very, like I said, positive. She seemed very open. She seemed very confident. She seemed very nice and all that. But then when we started to work together, she was like, well, I need this to be like this. And I don't know what's going on. And it seemed like we both I understood it though, because I'm like a certain way too with my, my creative stuff. And I like stuff to be a certain way. But also, I knew that you knew what you wanted.
Yeah.
I knew that you knew you were driven. I knew that I knew that you knew you had a vision for what you wanted. Right. And I respect that as well. And even with all the, the back and forth we might have had or what, I ain't gonna say back and forth. I would just say the different things that we went through as far as like just adjusting to your podcast and making sure that we came through with what you wanted to make sure we produce exactly what you all see now on To Be Creative. I always felt as though that you were, like I said, driven and you knew what you wanted. And it was a pleasure to get that open because your message is important. Your message is good. And I respect that from you. So I'll just say that.
I appreciate you, Moody.
No problem.
I appreciate that.
Hopefully I was able to, give that to you, real respectfully.
Yes, you did.
Right.
And the thing with business relationships, or relationships in general, you're gonna have the ups and downs. I don't even consider what we experienced. I just feel like it was trial and error. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You started off with me. You gave me the blueprint. You showed me the way, and then as I started to learn, certain things I wanted to adjust or change. Didn't negate the fact that you were the GOAT who helped me get it off.
You said that. That's what I like to hear. I am the guy.
A little bit.
I got some things. I got some things working with that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna definitely continue to produce that because I feel like we all are the greatest as far as what we do.
Yes.
And I feel like, ain't nothing wrong with calling yourself great because you want to make sure that you have confidence in yourself.
Yes.
So that's why I say it, I am the greatest. I do great work. I try to be, as just produce good quality work. That's what I'm all about. So
but even listening to your story, both of your stories, like how y'all were talking, that's what we're talking about in this podcast, like keeping the faith, because at the end of the day, y'all had creative differences, maybe, but it's getting each other better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And respecting each other. Is no ego, is to the side or whatever, but we doing stuff to make each other better.
Yeah.
And sometimes people need to be challenged. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be challenged. If you see something that is not right, you need to say something.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This is what we talking about on the Transparency podcast. You have to be transparent in order to grow in life.
And everything.
I
think one of the main things with me when it comes to my business in general, I'm a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist because I'm passionate. It's not out of like egotistic or bragging or boasting or anything like that. I'm really passionate about my work. I'm really passionate about what I do. So anything that I do, I want it to be done right. I want it to be done in order. I want it to be done to the best that it could be. So if I offer up my best, I need the people that I work with to offer up their best. If I'm bringing somebody to the table, when they come in here, they shouldn't know, what we may have going on behind the scenes or anything like that. So at all times, and that's if I'm having an event, that's if I'm at a speaking engagement, that's if I'm mentoring, that's any avenue of my life. I try to do my best to keep what happens behind the scenes. And when I show up, I'm showing up, and you would never know what's going. And I've been taught that, again, that comes with that challenge, because it was a season where I wasn't as focused on what people seen. I just would do anything and everything, and however it came out was the results. No, if you want good results, you got to put in the work. If you want good results, you got to take your time and strategize and organize what it is that you're trying to do so that it comes out right. Because what do you want to keep starting over? And that's a question I had to ask myself. Like, do I want to get to a place where I keep starting over because it's not done right, or would I rather back up, reevaluate, readjust, get it right, and now put it out there so that we don't have to keep going backwards? Absolutely. So that's kind of where that tenacity comes from. I'm gonna call it tenacity. It can be a little raw sometimes.
No, it should be.
But that's where it stems from.
I would call it passion.
It is.
Because if you have something right here and you put your name next to it, that means you signed off on it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So if, like, say you go into a car dealership and you don't really kind of like the car, but you just like, I'm going to go ahead. Why would you sign for something that you don't really want? Exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly. Or just anything, a house, whatever. So if you put in your name, like, you putting your stamp on it. Mm-hmm. So by you putting your
anything
stamp
I put my name on, it's going to be good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Period, point blank.
Well, at least good in your eyes. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Not for the reflection of what somebody else can see, but Absolutely. How I look at it. If I'm going to do it, it don't matter what it is. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. If it's just putting on clothes, like I was crying today about this bun. And I was just like, I'm going somewhere. I'm putting my face out there. My name is attached to my face. And I don't want to just look like I'm thrown together. I don't ever want that to be the perception of me. Like, it's rushed, or it wasn't thought out, or, you didn't prepare. Because I know what it looks like to look on the other side and see someone that did not prepare. And I had my words for them. So I don't ever want it to be, vice versa, where someone can say something in reference to what I put my name on at all.
Right.
So backing up just a little bit, how did you get to this point where you are now? And I'm not saying, like, far as your faith and everything goes and, your spirituality. I'm just saying, like, how did Faith get to where she is now, far as this tenacity you're talking about, this personality you have, this drive that you have? Because a lot of people don't have vision, or a lot of people don't have drive. Yeah. A lot of people don't have ideas. Like, how did, growing up, like, how was your childhood? Like, what exactly brought you to this point now where Faith is?
So I had a rough childhood. It was good, but it was rough. A lot. Well, my dad was incarcerated 24 years of my life. I'm 25. I'll be 26 this year.
Sorry to hear that.
He came home. It's life. It is what it is. He came home November of 2021 or 2020. I think it was 20. He should be home for a year now. 20 or 21. So I didn't have a real relationship with him. My mother was a hustler at Hart. She was, street runner, did what she did. She was a beautician for 12 years, and then my grandfather died, and my grandfather died, and my stepfather passed away. And out of that, I just always felt myself having this, like, challenge of being strong and being a survivor. Like, I just kept going back to, like, all right, Faith, you strong, you got this, you can make it through it. And then I find myself in survival mood where I'm like, I'm strong, but I got to do this for me. I got to do this for my cousins, my nieces that's coming behind me. And then I had to stop. Like, who are you living for? Am I living to make sure they good, or am I living to make sure that I'm good? And then I had a baby, and then my baby boy, Kason, shout out to you. I love you, kid. Yes. Kason showed me a whole nother lane of life. He just exposed me to what I was seeing my mother go through, and that choice to show up or to not. And I knew for a fact that I was never going to not show up for him. I knew for a fact that he would never lack. He would never not have. He would never experience anything that I went through, as far as the drugs, the fast money, you living here and then 2 years later you moving, or you going to this school and then you going to another school. And to me, that was like my push. And out of that, I started to learn myself and explore myself and discover who I was. And then it just showed me, like, bro, you don't have to live with this defense mechanism on your chest all the time.
Absolutely.
Like, you can choose to love, you can choose to forgive, you can choose to want more for yourself, for your lineage, whatever. And I want to say around my 23rd, 24th birthday, I went on a retreat, a women's retreat. I'm in a group called She's Accountable. Shout out to you guys, Deja. I went on a retreat. In this retreat, they challenged us to write a letter to ourselves, write a letter to the person that may have hurt you, write a letter to a person that inspires you, and write a letter to one of your parents. So I wrote that letter. And when I read the letter out loud, it showed me so much of myself that I was blaming myself for so much, and I wasn't giving accountability to the people that actually hurt me.
Okay.
And out of that, it just came full circle. So we read it out loud, and then we had to throw it in like a fire pit, rip it up, and burn it. And when I burned it,
like fresh fire.
when I burned it, I literally screamed to the top of my lungs, and I feel like that's what allowed me to be free. That's what allowed me to see that triumph is ahead. Like I'm not doing this to keep going backwards. I'm not doing life to keep trying to figure out why did she do this or do that. I'm living this life to actually live it and flourish and grow and be happy. So out of that came my healing, and then the extension of healing was rededicating my life to Christ. So when I rededicated my life to Christ, I went down in Jesus' name again. I got baptized again, and then I just seen life differently as a mother, as a woman, as a mentor, as a businesswoman. I just got a chance to like take off this like armor of being a soldier and not feeling like I'm the woman that has to carry all of these different loads. And then I just was like, you know what? It is what it is. It happened. It does not make me. It does not break me. It's just gonna make me to be a better woman.
But that is like, that's what I'm talking about, though. I think you had a title called "Standing Your Ground in Chaos," and that's exactly
staying grounded in the chaos.
Standing ground in the midst of chaos, and that's exactly. I hope people are listening to that, because people will judge someone and be like, "Okay, that's where I want to be," but again, that's what we was talking about, the book, like reading the book and hearing people's stories. Like people need to be more transparent, because somebody that just heard you say that, sit there and say, damn, I didn't go through quite the same thing, but I went through something similar. Yeah. And I'm sitting here like down on myself, and there's other people in this world that's going through this. Really? Yeah. I'm not the only one. Yeah. I'm not the only one that my father, not only my father wasn't around for 30 years, but as soon as he got home, he got killed. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. You know, people have so many traumatic stories, but I think we got to stop as a culture using our traumatic stories to keep us down. Like these are awesome testimonies that we can use towards building ourselves up and not keeping it to ourselves in our box, our little box, opening it up, being transparent and letting people hear that, and let's grow as a community. Yes. We got kids getting killed in elementary schools. We got innocent people getting killed in markets. You know, people going places not expecting to die. Like, you know what I mean? So we have to just release this pain and just keep growing better as a community. Yes. We need to, like how you was talking about your son, like we're pretty much you pretty much put him in like a mama force field. So he didn't have to go through the stuff that you're going. Mama bear is looking out and see, like, your testimony is just amazing. Thank you. It's amazing, and we appreciate you for sharing.
For sure. Woo. And I think as a community, we don't, like you said, we're not comfortable with expressing a lot of that. Yes. No. And I think you know, for me, you know, as growing up, you know, I got story, of course, you know, youngest of three. My father wasn't around. Of course, he did drug abuse and all that good stuff. Not good stuff or bad stuff, however you want to call it. But he was very smart. I got a lot of, you know, good traits from him. You know what I'm saying? And then he passed away. He was trying to get things together, blah, blah, blah. He passed away. And that was just something I just want to put out there. But I was just going to say, we all got a story. But the thing is, I didn't feel comfortable speaking about none of that, you know what I'm saying, after that happened. I mean, I'm, you know, 39 now, but I didn't feel comfortable speaking about that at like 28, 29. I didn't feel comfortable speaking about that even when I was 33 or 34. You know what I mean? So, because I always felt like, nobody really want, even to this day, I still feel like people don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people don't want to hear your problems. People don't want to really hear about what you're going through. You know what I mean? That's why a space like this is important for me, because You know, somebody that may know me may not be like, you know, I know Chaz is, you know, cool. I know Chaz from back in the day, blah, blah, blah. I ain't know he was doing this. I ain't know he been through that. Or I didn't even know he was, you know, expressing himself like this now. He making music, he doing podcast, and whatever. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it does take a lot to go through to feel comfortable to speak about that type of stuff. And that's what, like, finding yourself, doing things that, you know, feel comfortable for you, know who you is in your skin. It take time to get all that together. So just to say, you know, what you're doing now, of course, Faith, is cool. But, you know, we as people, even with you, of course, Harry, what we doing now and how we feeling now is, you know, it takes time. And we shouldn't, you know, look down on people or whatever if they hear their story and, you know, judge them and all that. Let's allow us to have some space to talk about what we're going through is what I'm saying.
I think for me, when I realized I was ready to talk about it was when I realized I accepted it. When I realized I couldn't change the narrative, I couldn't adjust it, I couldn't like rewrite it and say, okay, yeah, my father was, because a lot of times to reroute or back up a little bit, I was lied to as a kid, and they said that my father was like in a boot camp or something, and then he was in the army and all this crazy, ridiculous stuff. When my mother went to jail, they said my mother was on a cruise. Like, I was lied to for so long, so I had to make the choice to say, yo, are you going to keep lying to yourself and lying to the people that's connected to you, or you going to just accept the story for what it is and just rewrite it so that the continuation of it or the next chapter of it will be better. And that's when I started to like embrace it and realize that I wasn't the only person going through. I wasn't the only person experiencing it. I have so many young people that are attached to me that are blessed by my story because they're literally living through it right now. So why would I shut my mouth and not address the fact that I've overcome or I've conquered so many things to not be a blessing to somebody else? That's selfish. And that's not, if going Christ, like it's not of Christ. You're supposed to share your testimony. Absolutely. You're supposed to be a testament to what's going on. You're supposed to testify. So if I was to shut my mouth, the enemy would use me. Absolutely. And that would become back again, putting that armor on and like, no, I'm good. I'm not gonna tell nobody. I'm not gonna share it. No, it is what it is. It's life, and you're gonna go through life experiences. You're gonna go through life challenges. It's up to you to choose what you're gonna do with that. Yeah. You have the choice, and I chose to change it.
And it's good, in my opinion, to release. First of all, some people are ignorant, and very much so. You know what I'm saying? Like how you were saying, Moody, like how people don't want to hear your story. We can't qualify. Some people are unqualified to listen because they're ignorant and they don't want to recognize it. So
a lot of that.
So and some people, again, like how you were saying, some people release their stories in music, song, different like avenues. Just anything, different avenues. So that's cool.
But, and some people don't even release it, and that's okay too.
But see, my thing is the people that don't release it, and this is just my opinion, I call it like Coca-Cola syndrome. Like, keep shaking the soda. You know what I'm saying? Keep it bottled up. Keep it bottled up. Keep it bottled up. And you keep so much stuff bottled up, eventually you're going to explode.
That's a fact.
So if you keep releasing, because think about it. You got to use the bathroom. You drink something, you use the bathroom. Use the bathroom when you have to use the bathroom. Why can't people just use the bathroom when they need to with their knowledge and the things that happen to them instead of holding it and holding it and holding it? And then next thing you know, oh my God, my stomach hurting. And then, you know.
I think that is different ways of releasing it. Because everyone's not going to come to the front of the stage and say, hey, listen, here I am, the crackhead baby, or here I am, the child that parents been out of their life for all their life. Right. Some people aren't going to release it in that way, but you can find different ways and different strategies that work for you. Yes. Mine was public, and I became a public figure off of my story, and that may not be for the next person, but you can journal it, you can write it down, you can pray about it, you can take it. I go to the water and release mine sometimes. You can find different ways. You can have an accountability partner. You can have someone that you trust. Therapist, exactly. Any avenue, as long as you're not just continuously holding it in, because eventually, like you said, that bottle will explode. It will.
That's a fact. Yeah, and that's all good stuff, man. I know we're gonna help somebody with this one for sure. You know what I mean? And I think where we are now, you know what I mean, as people, I think we are doing better with this, man. I think, you know, at some point, you know, we will continue to get better, listen to each other, help each other out, you know, build each other up. You know, it's wicked out here, man, to be honest. You know what I mean? And I pray every day, pray every night, you know, to cover my family, cover the people I'm around. I'm thankful for the people I'm connected with like this. because like I didn't think I would be at this point far as like I said, expressing myself, doing this, connecting with people. But I knew that I had purpose at some point to do some of this stuff. And now it's like, it's getting endless now. Now it's like I'm doing all types of things because I put my faith in that, and I'm building that. And you can see the evidence. Like in my story today, well, not story, the testimony today, or the service that I had today at my church that I listened to, which is speaking about faith, of course, building your faith, but it's more of like faith is like an evidence of what you've been through. So it's like if somebody know your story and they can actually see and understand what you're going through and what you've been through, and they can see your faith because you put that time in, you put those hours in or whatever it is. And even when you knew something wasn't going to happen, you still kept going forward. You know what I mean? And I think that's important, man. Even if it don't look right, even if you don't think it's going right, you can get through some stuff, man, if you really, continue to just build what you're doing, trusting what you're doing. And like you say, find avenues to express yourself. Yeah. And those things can come to pass. Things can happen. A lot of things can happen for you. For
seed is planted, man. You got to keep pushing. Like the plant. So the seed is planted, it's growing in you, and eventually you gotta push it out. It's at the third trimester. You gotta get ready. You gotta get ready to have a baby. I always say that, bro.
You're not what is it, analogies or whatever it is? They be like impeccable, brother. I'm not gonna lie. He's talking about pushing out babies.
He just said a few things. Like, I was like, okay,
you follow my guy, big O.
Got it.
Follow my guy.
My brain. Listen, bro. So I go in the cloud, right, and my clouds. Nobody else can go there with me. So when I go, like seriously, my mind goes everywhere.
I love it.
And nobody can go. And then I go where I go and make sense of it in my mind and then bring it back as a gift. You know what I mean? So like it's just
gifts.
like I mean, it's like a souvenir. Like I go on a trip and I come back with a souvenir.
I bring you something back.
I'm sorry. I mean, that's just
dropping gems.
You got people who look for these gifts, man. Yes. You got people who's listening to you. You know what I mean?
It's not me as God, bro. It's not me as God. Bro.
That's a fact, yo.
It's not me. I fight through a lot of things. I battle anxiety, depression, and different things of that nature. But I think. You ever seen? I always bring up the analogy of like X-Men and stuff like that. I'm like Jean Grey. Like sometimes I'm starting to learn how to control my emotions better. My brain used to hurt so bad that I used to get migraines all the time. Like thinking and thinking of this. But then I started releasing things and
started getting better.
It made me feel better.
Yeah, man. It helps, yo. It really do. A lot of things don't be as difficult as you really do, make them out to be.
Right.
When you really start to understand what we doing here in life, man. Like, it really ain't that bad, yo. You know what I'm saying? We go through a lot of stuff, don't get me wrong. But if we just find ways to, express ourselves, man, go do some gym, get a group, do sports, something, man, create something, do something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that gets you, going, something that you're passionate about, you know what I mean? Those things will help you out, and then you can understand, like, you know what I mean? You get through it, you know what I mean? For sure.
Absolutely, most definitely. So, I mean, like I said, I appreciate this conversation completely, because, again, hopefully people tune in and hear, because a lot of men are not open to talk. Usually it's like looked upon as women are the ones that come out and express themselves emotionally. But nowadays, like, again, it used to be through song or like Kevin Hart used to say, man, I went through a lot of stuff, but the reason why it was so funny was because I really was going through stuff, and the only way I can shove it out was through comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's almost like you have to be like kind of like a class clown. Like I used to go to school. I used to be the class clown. I used to try to make everybody laugh. I had the opportunity, not like you guys. I had the opportunity. My mom and my dad lived together. You know what I'm saying? And I had my mom and dad. They still live together. They're still together. They've been married for 40-something years.
That's beautiful. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to Harry Swan and Barbara Swan. But my mom and dad, like, it was a huge struggle though. Like it was things that I've seen. Like my father, I used to hate my father growing up. Like my dad he was emotionally and physically abusive. I mean, he used to beat me. Like, I'm talking about bad beatings. Like just for pissing in the bed or something like that. It was a bad, you know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy. But I say all that to say, like, not giving my dad an excuse, but now analyzing things and getting older, I saw that my dad was struggling with work. He couldn't keep a job. So, and your wife is keeping a job, and she holding down everything at the house, and she's treating you. And in my eyes, I never seen my mother put my father down, like, and you know, as a young kid,
right.
She always was like, ask your father. If it was something that I was asking her, she said, go ask your father. Even though my father, he was in his he in his mind, he's a minister now, but in his mind, he was like, he wasn't a king in his kingdom because his queen is taking care of everything in the house. He always laid off. So I think he was overdoing it by feeling like he got to put a stamp down on his children and disciplining his children and things like that. So now looking at my father, seeing what he went through, and he used to drink all the time, and he was smoking all the weed, and me and my father are like the best of friends now. He told me last week, he said, man, I ain't have a drink since 1995.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And he used to drink every day.
Wow.
Used to smoke. Now he still smoking those things, you know. But that, you know that, you know what I'm saying? But my dad, man, and my mom, they made the best for us growing up, even though it was rough. And another thing is, and I wrote this down in my journal, is that when my father was growing up, when I was growing up with my father was also a protector. So my brothers, one of my brothers was a drug dealer, and my other brother he was going around robbing people or whatever. And I looked at my brother as my brother. I'm young, so I'm just sitting there like, yeah, that's my brother. He's my hero. Like, you know what I'm saying? But my father didn't let me go with my brother. And I'm thinking like, why are you keeping me away from my brother? And not to mention my brother is not his son. Is his stepson. So my father kept me away from my brothers, but he was just trying to protect me. You know what I'm saying? From anything that could, like, being around my brother. Like, you know, you selling drugs, anything could happen. You know what I mean? So my father kept me away, and I'm looking at my father like he's the worst man in the world. Like, God dang, you so mean. You can't even let me be around my brothers. Like, you keeping me from my brothers and keeping that relationship and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, the older Harry looking at things, I can see why he did what he did.
So speaking of siblings, you have any siblings? You have siblings, correct?
Yes.
How many siblings do you have?
My mother's side, I'm the only child. My father's side is 5. I'm the youngest.
So, and you, of course, did you spend time with them when you were growing up?
Yeah.
You had your mother allowed you, not allowed, but your mother would you make sure you knew them.
Had a relationship with them
because that's important.
Very important.
My mother did that as well. She made sure I had relationships with my father's family. You know, and she does. My mother had three had children with 3 different men, and we all know all of our families, and that's a blessing. But you know, growing up, I want to ask you a couple of things. I mean, like growing up, what allowed you to keep like that I would say that even with him not being around and not having a father figure, how did you feel just about, you know, men in general? Like, did you see men a certain way? Like, how did you feel about, like, you know, those moments when you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if your mother, like, did your mother bring men into your life? Like, you know, I'm just wondering, like, how was that dynamic?
Okay, a little sensitive topic here, but
this is transparency. We just going,
we transparency.
We going to be honest.
So I had 2 father figures. One, he is still around in my life. His name is Kevin Anderson.
Shout out to Kevin Anderson.
Shout out to you, a phenomenal man. I'm gonna send this to him so he can hear me brag about him. He's a phenomenal man.
That's awesome.
Was the ideal father. He did not have me in his household, but he paid for prom, he paid for the car, he paid for food, he clothed me, he bathed me. My mother went to jail for like 3 months or something. He took me in. His wife was just, you know, wasn't my forte, but he took me in. So even now we have a relationship. He has a relationship with my son. He calls him grandpa. That is his pop. That was my father.
Amazing, bro.
Outside of him was Goldie, which was my stepfather who passed away.
R.I.P. Goldie.
Yes, love him as well. He was the man in the house, but he was the drug dealer. He was kingpin. He went to jail, but he always provided. So I had the support and love and emotional connection through Anderson, and then Goldie was the provider, the protector. You know, the one that you come home to, and if a boy that messes with you, he gonna roll up on them or something like that. And both of those relationships, I feel like I needed both, specifically because it taught me 2 different languages of a man. It taught me how a man should love you, how he should take care of you, how he should support you, and then in the same aspect, my father showed me my father in-house showed me what a provider was. So
great.
I'm grateful and I thank God that I had both, because if I only had one, I feel like I would have lacked. I feel like I wouldn't know certain things that I know now because I was able to have both parties. But as far as the relationships I have with my siblings, they were all birthed out of my grandmother. She kept us all connected. She made sure that we seen each other, that we came over her house for Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays, whatever, my father's birthday. We all gathered. Amazing. So that's how I was continuously connected to them. And then as far as you asked me, how did that make me feel about men, like not having him around?
Yeah, just how that dynamic was, still having them as, your family, but of course, your mom. Because, typically, not saying typically, sometimes they might be like, I'm not dealing with that family or your father's locked up.
Yeah, no, she was very open to me having a relationship with him. He didn't want the relationship. He didn't feel like it was his job to be a father. He felt like it was my mother's job to make me his daughter. In all words, it was my mother's job to bring me to the jail. It was my mother's job to make sure I was able to talk to him if he called. It was my mother's job to, I don't know, like find me a nice dress. He loved when I came with like doll baby dress. It was like I was a figurative image of what a daughter was, where he didn't never address me as his daughter. And I feel like I felt that once he came home, because it was like he put me up on this pedestal, and I was the trophy daughter when none of his other kids did absolutely nothing when he came home. And then as soon as I was not able to uphold that standard of what I was supposed to do, he just was like, yeah, next, like moving on. And that is probably what adjusted my perspective of men. Not necessarily what my mother did, but when he finally came home, I'm 24. I grinded. I made sure I had him money, clothes, shoes, toiletries, TV. He's a Muslim. I made sure I had all his Muslim stuff. It's not even something I believe in or I get into. I did everything in my power to make sure he had everything he needed when he got home. And maybe 2 months, 3 months in, it was just like, hey, I need you to pull up. I'm like, all right, what's up? I just need to talk to you. I get there and he like, yeah, you just not doing enough. Like, and I was like, wow. Oh, who? Like, and I flipped. I blacked out and I flipped crap. And ever since then, I ain't talked to him. Don't care to have a conversation. My son will ask me about him every now and then, and I'll just be like, Pop will come around when he's ready. Like, he still loves you. He's still your grandfather. But it's just not, it's not a relationship that is meant to be right now. And he's 4, so... But he understands. He understands that he's not seeing his grandfather. He understands that he was around this person for 3 months consistently, and now he's gone. He gets it. So for me, when it comes to men, it's just like, it's like I love everybody. I don't have a gender or sexist perspective, but I no longer hold men to a high standard. Like, however you present yourself is how you present yourself, and I'm gonna believe what you show me. I'm not going to believe that you could do anything more than what you're showing me. And that came from my father. It didn't come from my mother.
I was just, because I think that, father relationships with just children in general is important, and I think that, when you don't have that, I know it can definitely, throw me off a little bit, of course, what I mean? But I'm always I forgive him though, Like I said, he passed away, and I think it's important as we grow up, we don't know what they have went through and what they go through in their mind. But it does stain and it does hurt that.
Absolutely.
Even what you did, all that you did, I'm not going to say didn't appreciate it because I don't know, exactly. But for him to just, disregard that is very disheartening to hear. But, you just got to forgive it, and just try to keep it moving because you don't want to hold on to that. And I think you standing here and telling me that is very strong of you, and I appreciate that. And I really see, again, like, what you're doing here and what you're doing with your podcast. Someone wouldn't even think that all of that was a part of your story, but knowing that that is a part of your story and seeing what you're doing is very commendable. So I respect that.
Thank you.
It shows that you forgiveness. You have forgiveness. You know what I mean?
I'm getting there, Lord. I ain't forgave him all.
No,
I ain't forgave him all the way.
But I'm not saying him, but you have some in you.
Yeah, it takes for me to talk about it, to be honest and be like, listen, you hurt me, and I don't forgive you all the way, but I do forgive you enough to say if you was to walk back through a door or if I was to see you and my son was to embrace you, I would accept it. I would allow it.
Right.
So I know that I don't hate him to the point that it's no return because I still think about my kid when it comes to the extension of him because it's his grandfather. Right. But for me, I'm okay with not having any kind of relationship at all.
It's tough.
If in fact he was to extend the olive branch to try to mend things with me, I would be open to it just because of grace and who God is in my life.
Yes, yes.
But for me to try to go out and like rebuild, probably not gonna happen.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, just listening to that, it's tough, man, because I'm sitting here listening to your story, but thinking about what your father went through for 24 years and like reaching out to not knowing, because I don't know what I would be able to do if I'm locked away somewhere. It is nothing I can do to protect my family on the outside. My family is like everything to me. And just listening to the story and just like, you know, is he like, is his mindset still
incarcerated?
Like, is he still institutionalized? I'm sitting there wondering, like, is he still institutionalized? Is he still back in 25 years? That was about like 1996. Yeah. Right.
Possible.
So is his mind still back in 1996? Think about it, 1996. Tupac was still alive. Like, the world was completely different.
Yeah.
So is he still? Did he age 25 years? Is he still
30-something years old?
Yeah, and it's
very possible.
Yeah,
I've never put myself in his shoes. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
right. I mean,
I'm not.
It's tough.
I'm not in a place. I just feel like I wasn't asked to be here, bro. Like,
Nope.
I didn't ask to come into this world. He literally planted me. Like, let's make that very clear in case you ever hear this. You planted me. You made the decision to tell my mother you wanted a girl and you was going to name her Faith. I'm not going to say my whole name, but you were going to name her Faith Joi. You planted me. You knew that I was coming and you decided to make the wrong decision at the wrong time. And that changed your whole narrative of life of being a father. So after that, when you realized you made the mistake or whatever the case may be, you should have still been a father, regardless of what the trajectory was when you made the decision. You still should have been a father. And that's how I feel. And that's why I hold the two men that were my fathers such on a high pedestal because they didn't have to do anything that they've done for me in my life. So it is what it is.
You know what? Look at you now, though.
Like,
look at your infrastructure now. Look at what has created you, and it's almost like God just was taking like this little things and he made a Frankenstein. Look at you.
Yeah, because everything we go through, man, makes us who we are. So everything that we've been through is important for that. And, you know, speaking of that, like what are some things that, you know, as you were, you know, growing and going through and even got to your point to, you know, give your life to Christ, you know, rededicate your life to Christ, I would say, going forward, like what are some things that you like gave up or sacrificed or things that you like didn't want to do anymore? Like, and for you too, all right, now I say, you know, something for me too, but like, what are some things you went for? Like, man, you know, I'm not going to do this no more. I'm not going to live like this. I'm not going to hold this. Like, you know, what are some things that you probably dedicated to that?
I knew I wasn't settling for less. That was probably the number one thing. And that could be less of me, less of what a man could do, a woman could do, a friend could do, my mother could do. I was not settling for less. Because once I realized what my worth was, and I realized what caliber of a woman I was, nothing was either you meeting me or I ain't doing it. And that came in dating, that came in friends, that came in jobs, that came into business connections. Like, if it wasn't on my level, I wasn't doing it. That's big. that took for me to go through so much to like realize when I didn't know my worth, and I let people play with me and I let people toy with me and I let them leave my life and then come back into my life and then fix it up and make it sound good, and then they represent it and I'm like, all right, cool, you didn't grew or you didn't learn from your mistake. No, if you ain't got it, you ain't got it, and I don't want it if you don't got it. And that's in literally any avenue of my life. I'm not settling for nothing. So I think that was probably my number one lesson overall with every life experience. I'm just not settling at all.
Shout out to not settling.
Not settling, man.
Don't. Because you can get everything that you want, okay?
That's a fact.
You can get it all. It could come fully packaged if you wait on it. And I also learned how to wait. I also learned patience. Like, like I was without for a long time, financially, and then emotionally I was without, and then tangible things I went without. And I realized like each season was teaching me how to be able to handle what was coming. And now that I'm where I am and all things are great, I wouldn't have appreciated where I am if I didn't go through the season of not having and having to wait.
Yeah, man. That's important. That's big.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was just going to just reiterate, just anything that you might have just like, read that.
Well,
Anything that you just
be
said,
hon-
you know what, I'm not doing this no more.
be honest with you, I had that conversation with myself. It's ironic. I had that conversation with myself this week. It was so many, and I'm not going to get into, but it was like so many traumatic and great things. Like it was like this whole week was like a bipolar week of happy, sad, everything. I probably look like the Joker this week, like all the stuff that I went through. But I said to myself, and I said, God, I'm choosing me now. I'm going to choose me.
That part.
I'm not going to wonder how someone else feels. Like I have to take care of me, because if I do not take care of me, it will be no me. So, because I'm a very unselfish individual, I'm telling you, if I get called by someone, if I can, I will. It's not even a question, because I always had this in my mind, like if they called me, they must need me, so I'm going to make sure that I'm there. You know what I mean?
It's a dangerous place to be.
Exactly. And now I'm starting to find out not doing that anymore. People called me and I said no, like I can't do it. And I fought myself. Like after I hang up the phone, I'll be like, damn, even crying, like, damn, man, I want to be there for him, but
wow.
And I'm not even doing anything to not be there for him, but let them handle it. And then I keep saying that, and next thing you know, it's handled. You know what I mean? And it has nothing to do with me. And I don't know if it's like, for me, I'm not egotistical and anything like that. It's more so of just trying to help people, because I feel like that's what God put me on in life.
Your heart is what I realized about certain people. Like people I mesh well with have a servitude attitude or a servitude personality. And sometimes as a servant, you can serve in any avenue or any capacity, right? And when a person realizes that that's who you are, they will either appreciate it or they'll abuse it. And some people are sent to abuse you to see if you're going to let them abuse you.
Wow.
And it's not necessarily them that are attempting to abuse you. It's sometimes God sending them to see how much you're willing to give out.
I just heard that from Pastor Mike, and I was listening to Rock City this morning, and he said exactly what you said. A lot of people blame the devil about stuff. And the devil doesn't even have nothing to do with that situation. It's God testing you.
Yes.
Yeah. You gotta go through some resistance.
Yes.
You ask God for all these things.
Wow.
We go into that faith. What was the title again?
Keeping the faith.
Keep it. Okay.
That's
if we relating it back to the topic, sometimes your faith is built by your way of saying no. Like if you say no and then you're told no, somehow one of them going to increase, either your doubt or your faith. So it's either you going to choose to say, I'm going to have more faith and believe that if it's for me, it's going to come, or you're going to doubt God and your faith is going to decrease. So in situations like when you say no or you can't do it, you got to believe like, all right, God going to look out for them. God going to make sure they good. God going to make sure they covered. God going to make sure they all right, because this is you now trusting him. But if you doubt him and it don't come through, then that's when that worry and that fear and that anxiety start playing in your mind. And you like, all right, I should have did it, or all right, I should have went, all right, I should have came. No, it's either you going to have faith to believe that it's going to happen, or you going to doubt him and it won't happen.
And what's crazy is I'm okay with someone saying no to me. I really don't ask a lot for stuff.
That's their servitude.
But it's crazy, man. I'm okay with somebody saying no, I can't do it. It's fine.
So I'm gonna just say when it comes to like something that I felt as though I'm like, man, I'm not, I'm going forward. This is how I'm moving. This is how I'm feeling. Just focusing on my peace, man. Because growing up, what I mean, it was difficult. Like I didn't really have that much peace. You know what I'm saying? I was asked to do a lot of things. I felt like, at an early age, when I was, once I got grown, I had to do certain things with my mom or whatever. And my mother's a wild woman, but she's, she's taming down, praying for her every single day. She's doing good.
Yeah, most definitely.
But just
shout out to mom.
Yeah, man. My mother's, and she's amazing, man. And like I said, I would never take nothing away from her as far as what she's done for us and what she's done for my brothers. She did it alone as far as, her being a single mother. So, and she had to be like that. She had to be tough. She had to be who she is. So I'm thankful for that. But, I need peace from those situations. You know what I'm saying? So focusing on my peace. I'm not going to go around judging people because I know people go through things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just going to focus on, helping other people, connecting with people, not being standoffish, not being, having more faith in others, that as well. But also knowing that, that ain't always going to be the case. And you got to find out what point that I say, well, look, I see what you're doing. I'm not even going to, I'm not going to allow you to control my emotions. I think that's important, like making sure that no one controls how I feel and how I can get where I'm getting out of character. Yeah. And that's important, man. That's important for me because, it can all get thrown away. You know what I'm saying? Like if I flip out or do something crazy, it can be all I work for, all I done can be gone. You know what I'm saying? So I think about peace a lot. So that's what's important for me. For sure.
You brought up your mother, and this is. It's funny, like I said.
And she was just on Keeping the Stack on Saturday, not to.
Oh man, we got you got to check that out.
Please check out Keeping the Stack podcast. Mom Duke's Family Affair is up right now, episode 66. Go subscribe.
Can't wait to see that. 66. Yeah. Shout out to that
episode.
But far as my mother, we just had the conversation this week. I told you I was going through a range of things, and it's funny. She said, you put me on timeout, and I said, Mom, I did not put you on timeout. What I do now, I'm different. I'm a different individual now.
Yeah, man.
Like I don't just jump, or somebody say jump, and I say how high. I'm tired, mentally, physically. I'm not saying I'm tired of you. I'm not tired of my children. I'm not tired of any. What I'm saying is, it's a different me. So I love you, but if I do not pick up the phone, if I'm not there for you, it doesn't mean that I don't care for you. I'm just taking the time for me to build my life. Yeah. Build my life.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
None at all.
Don't ever feel bad for that. Take your space. Like, to the listeners, it's so important to have time for yourself. It's so important to love on yourself, to care about yourself, to attend to yourself, to give yourself what it is that you're looking for others to give you. You have to give it to yourself so that when those people come, you already know your standards. You already know your values. You already know your expectations because you give it to self. But you won't know what you want or what you're deserving of if you've never given it to yourself. So definitely, and I'm proud of you for that.
Absolutely, proud of you too.
Mom Dukes to understand. She be all right. She be all right.
Yeah, people will be okay. It will be okay.
So, man, this has been great.
Great
I appreciate you. Thanks for coming through. You know what I mean? I know we ain't been here in a minute, but it's good to get you back in the building. You ain't been in the building, and then it's all came a little full circle moment to get you back in the building.
Want me up?
Appreciate you coming through. What's really cool is when he saw your podcast, he asked me like off the bed, like, can we get Joy? I mean, can we get Faith? He kept calling you Joy. Can we get Faith Joi on? I'm like, I'm gonna see what Faith doing. She's got her own podcast. You know what I'm saying? She doing her thing. You know what I mean? I don't know what her schedule look like. I gotta check first. Give me a minute. But he was on it though, trying to get you on. He felt the inspiration. I would say he felt that energy. He wanted to get you on. So shout out to the energy.
Yeah, you gotta again for everyone that's listening, and we wrapping this up. But you gotta pay attention to what you're looking at. Believe your eyes, but pull back layers. Pull back layers. Don't just look at the surface. Don't look at like just a canvas. Read that book. You know what I'm saying? I'm on chapter 39. Moody's on chapter 39. Faith is on chapter 25.
25 and
5. Look at you.
I'll be 26 this year.
So look.
That's what it is.
These chapters,
what's your birthday, Faith?
You want me to talk about my business?
Yo, never mind. Dang, all right, never mind.
October 27th.
All right, I was just wondering, you know what I'm saying?
She is Scorpio. But you know what? The
Scorpios, that's why she's so feisty. That's why.
And they're very, very private.
And I don't be even those signs things, but that's a thing, though, for sure. My brother is Scorpio.
They're very, well, I don't know. The Scorpios that
I'm private. I'm private to a certain extent.
Yeah. So that's good, man. So we appreciate you being here.
It was a pleasure. It was good to like get it off my chest. I didn't even know I needed to talk about half the stuff that I was talking about, even though I've already talked about it before. But just to like get the refresher and get behind the mic and talk to some people that actually want to, dive deep and get into a good conversation that's going to help somebody and not just surface talk. This was good. I appreciate you guys.
So everybody listen, the Coca-Cola syndrome. Release it.
Release
Give it these
that.
allergies.
Release
There
it.
you go. He got
Just
it.
release it.
Release it.
got it.
Release it.
Go use the bathroom. Do what you gotta
Go
do.
use
Just don't get yourself sick. Do not get yourself sick. I'm trying to
Let
tell
it
you.
out.
Right.
Let it
I'm
out.
trying to tell
Man.
her. Just let it out. Let it
Let
out.
it out.
In
Let
the
it out.
qualified areas that wherever it is, journals, whatever, like we just said, you don't
Yes.
got to tell people that's unqualified. The qualified areas, okay.
Yes.
For sure. For sure.
Good stuff, y'all.
So
Yeah,
I
man.
hope.
So where can they find you at?
Oh yeah.
Just to
Of
make
course,
sure
of
that your
course.
social media is out.
All social media platforms is To Be Creative, which is TOBEKREATIVE_. Or if you just search Faith Joi with an I, that is me. You can find me on all social media platforms: Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify. That's all of my avenues. And I have some great things coming very soon. So please, please, please follow. Stay tuned. Kreative Convos will be back live next Sunday. So make sure you tune in for that.
Boom.
And I'm cooking up some stuff. Like I'm in the kitchen. Yeah.
Cooking
So
up.
stay tuned.
Cook.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I love you guys.
Shout out to Be Creative and
Shout out.
Kreative Convos. Really
Kreative
good podcast. Make sure y'all listen to that. Spotify, Apple. You can go check that
And
out.
go
All
check out
those.
the YouTube
Go
videos.
subscribe
They're
to
very
the YouTube
good. They good.
page.
They good. They
You're
good
going to get
stuff.
something out of it. She got good stuff.
Thank you.
You heard
Thank
it.
you.
You
Thank
heard it
you.
already. You heard something. So I hope that you like this podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe. I go by the name of Big O. I got Moody here.
You already know.
Miss Faith Joi. And this is the Transparency Podcast.
Peace.